Seamless journey. Everybody would like to trust somebody on the shoulder. We will inform, we will notify, we will recommend in every phase of the journey. And I think that is of course also the opportunity we have as an industry to provide based on all the knowledge and data we have. But still we have a big gap between the vision and really delivering on that promise. So in view of, say, the challenges, what are your challenges to actually being able to provide that seamless experience?
Well, I tend to say technology is not the limit anymore, even though many airlines still use legacy technology and they represent problems. There are ways to overcome this and create a great user experience. So I tend to say you have a super modern apartment and very efficient, and you don't see all of the cabling and the stuff in the basement. So that's what you can do. And I think it is more the mindset, the silos, the thinking, even to say this is what we can do and what we want to achieve and where we can make a difference and think it through. And it involves understanding the customer, as we've already said, but it involves to be really talk, watch, feel with the customer, ask the customer at any moment, experiment, and try out new things, and even realize when you fail, it's okay, you can even celebrate a failure, but let's go for new ones. But having that mindset, I think, and being able to feel safe in such a mindset is a big problem in many airlines.
On the topic of bundling, interestingly, Scoot has previously had product bundles, and in the last 5 years or so, we decided to unbundle things. So we just sell the base fare, and then everyone has to go through the airlines process. Some of the insights we generated out of it is we do see that there is not much difference. There's not much difference in terms of the overall conversion rate. So the main learning here is by debundling products, we are actually as a result, we are now looking into how we can bring back that experience to ensure that we make it more seamless and frictionless for customers to be able to get from searching for completing the purchase. So this is a massive challenge, and in fact we have communicated with a lot of would-be partners, potential partners that at least for Scoot, we are looking at, we want to have a single source of truth. And that's not just for me and my team, right? It's also for downstream stakeholders, the customer service team, the ground team. They need a single source of truth to be able to see everything that the customer has purchased. And if we are talking about working with third-party products, partners, the challenge is always that we don't have that single source of truth. It's going to be separate systems. It's going to be a separate portal. Customers are not going to be able to do everything in one go. That's for sure. Yeah, and you want to overcome that. The barrier there is at high investment cost, which boils back to the question, is it justified? And that's also because not everything has strong enough ROI.
We need that product catalog. We need to make it available. I was fascinated by your example of 40 products. I mean, of course it doesn't make sense for the customer. But we have to start somewhere, and this is where the tech comes in. Once we have those insights, and we have the data around there, we see so many other verticals where they know the customer. We've all experienced them in different channels. It's getting that information so we can work with the newer technologies, if you like, move away from legacy to curate that offer. But it is a journey, and it's not just curating the offer, it's delivering the service. So one of my babies is intermodal. Of course you want to be able to offer air and rail and booking flow. Possible, but when it comes to the servicing piece, we are still such a long way away from being able to deliver effective servicing, who's liable in the event of disruption, for example. That's where we've got organisational challenges that we need to overcome. But it's essential the ecosystem comes together to enable both the offer and the delivery of the service.
We don't bundle as much. We cross-sell rather than bundling. Bundling would become relevant when we are talking with the airline players, for example. Can we offer an airport ride where you have a priority pass to jump the queue together with the lounge access, for example? That would be a relevant bundle because of the situation where our user might be. So then I would ask the question back, is the problem about having 40 ancillary service or showing what's relevant to the user to make it just more relevant in the customer journey? Assume that based upon getting to know me, you will be able to make the right selection in those 40 products within every phase of the journey. That's the ideal. And of course, everybody's looking for that ambition, but again, we're struggling with, say, the legacy part, the technical parts, silent, so GDPR, of course, privacy. So it's more indeed about working together. It's about sharing data, or maybe using the data together. And again, of course, establish that you would have set up a new company tomorrow. So the big question, looking at you guys with many, many years of experience in this field of business, if we would set up a new company tomorrow with 6 of us, how would it look like? With all the knowledge and understanding we have in providing that, whereby we find that, say, the modern Main Street retailers are able to provide that. So where are the gaps? Where are the challenges? Where would we start? Looking at the audience, if they would start tomorrow with us, where would we start?
That's, I know, go back to Apple when they started. Why do we have smartphones now which are touchscreens? Apple renovated the world because it was customer first. So there's always an element of that. Putting the customer first is not cheap, so you've got to find that balance. To me, it's the platform you work on. So again, very much in the airline industry, you're going to hear a lot of people always talk about the legacy systems. That's something that the full service carriers kind of always harp on back. Most of the LCCs in the world now are on Navitaire. There's a couple other PSS that they're out there as well. Navitaire's not that new anymore. So to me, it's if we're building an airline, for example, there's a few key building blocks. Can you go and build your own PSS? Well, no one's going to do that. It's not that easy to recreate an Navitaire, Sabre or Radex, and that was a complete disaster. So, and that's the closest competitor you've got there. So you've got to go and choose your building blocks. You've got to go and choose what you're building, which is going to be Navitaire, and that's 20 years old. From the airline's point of view, especially from the ancillary point of view, there's a lot of these elements where you get the tech partners working together. So again, I lost count about 10, 12 RFPs in the market at the moment as well. And very quickly I step back and you just let the two technical teams start talking to each other in their language. And very often I'm looking for that first part of the email is what might go live there. I don't really care what you're talking to each other about, I don't understand it, but where's my go live there? You're going to have good providers out there that have worked with Navitaire, or they set this up with 4, 5, 10 airlines. Good, you've done it 10 times, probably not going to be an issue. So again, if we're setting up a business as well, it's nice to say that person's got that nice, new, wonderful product. Have you done it before? Have you worked with Navitaire, the PSS system? Have you set it up with an airline? Do you know how complex it is to touch all these points, whether it's insurance, e-visas, the RMS systems as well? So again, it's like a spider web, and in airlines, that little spider in the middle of the web is your PSS and the Navitaire system. So the building blocks in there.
Yeah, I second what Trevor mentioned. I can say that it's a lot more attractive to us when a partner comes to us and tells us that they already have an existing connection with Navitaire. Because that resolves all the problems we're talking about in terms of the single source of truth. Because then the product can be in the booking. My customer service team don't have to be worried about booking at different portals. My ground ops team doesn't have to be concerned about having access to those portals. Yeah.
It's speed to market as well. If a new vendor comes up to us as well, I mean, I've been the vendor and I've been the airline, and the one that gets me so often as well is the vendor will come and they put up their slides, 70 slides are about to be presented to me. Seriously, you can do the whole thing in 3 or 4 slides. First one, credibility.
have you done this with any other airlines? Yes, you've done it with 5, 6, 20 airlines. Great, fantastic. I can pick up the phone and speak to my mate over in Jetstar. Credibility done. Have you got connections with the key platforms? Yes. Okay, brilliant. Now tell me about your product. So it's very much in case of what's the experience that the vendors bring to the table as well. So at the moment as well, you can have the best product team out there, but if you're like, they've never done it before, I'd be like, I love the product, but it's going to take 6 months, 12 months to get this up and running. So you'll probably drop down the priority for me, and I'll be looking for something else that I can implement very quickly. Because it is a vendor that has all this experience, and it's not just about the tech, it really, really is about the people. Airlines were absolutely blasted from COVID. So much experience left the airlines, and they're still suffering. And again, you just need to put that right person in that right team, whether it's an ancillary manager, a co-chair manager, a revenue management professional. Most of these people walked out the industry, not many of them came back. So again, having that person in the right team to move this forward is absolutely critical. So technology is wonderful, but if you don't have that person who knows how the technology works, you're kind of running around in the dark.
I would like to add 2 comments to this. One is, yes, you need the experience with the vendors, but if you want to measure this by saying they need to have implemented 20 airlines, you will get the vendors who built their technology 20, 30 years ago, and they promise everything, but then in reality it will not happen. And I think it's part of the barrier that people look like we want to innovate. I think ultimately the business case should be about flexibility. Airlines try to look at requirements and they look at how many airlines have you already implemented instead of what is the setup of the technology, what is the real experience of the vendor, is the vendor a real partner who will make it happen and will go the extra mile or not. And I think that's a big difference. And what comes in addition to this is that the customer requirements are changing every single day. What is about today is just tomorrow's ordinary. It's just Bezos said quite rightly. And this is why it's ultimately the business case has to be the flexibility so that you can ensure that you get there and not a list of thousands of requirements.
You don't need to, you don't need 20 sort of airlines on your CV, but where I'm coming from, any vendor here as well, they're going to say, technically, can you do this? Everyone's going to say yes. Until you signed off the business case, you signed it off, and you're walking down that, and it's delayed by another 3 months, another 3 months. So that's where I'm coming from. If you've just got one, Gambar is a revenue management system that exploded onto sort of the world about 5 years ago. The people from the old legacy system, ARM, they left. They built it up on new modern tech stack. It stripped the world away, and Paul, who's not here as well, they were the first client for Gambar who came in. So they got AirAsia on the CV. And again, they can just walk into most of the airlines and go, who do you work with? AirAsia. Oh, I better take you, I'm not going to make a decision. I'll take you seriously now as well.
So, there's your thoughts on this beautiful topic?
I think that everyone in the ecosystem needs to think, if you want to do a collaboration, you need to think of what's in it for everyone. You can't just go to the airline and tell the airline, we're going to sell tens of millions of this. It's going to be easy to implement. It needs to go back to the point of what the airlines are looking for. It's not just about what the customers might be looking for. We can always be customer-centric, but at the end of the day, if there are challenges that we need, again, next systems, right? They're not going to go, right? So if that's a main consideration in the equation, then that needs to be factored in.
I would just say very briefly, think big, but start small. And just try, do things and make them happen, and don't try to make like the whole world change in a day. Experiment and have to gain confidence. One success brings another.
I think the answer lies somewhere in between. I particularly enjoyed this discussion. It could have gone for a long time. I was an alliances guy, and it's easy to do with Inline Coach and Amadeus, etc. It's sub-optimal. The optimization is going to come from different sources. So how do we find that middle ground? How do we work towards this truly hyper-personalized, curated offer? That's where we need to get to.
Well, I guess for us it's more like, how can we be part of your ancillary revenue?
Yes.
Daily, it could be rewards partnership as well, where we can contribute to your reward ecosystem. It's another way for you to also, get some ancillary revenue, which is not direct. But yeah, very insightful discussion. Thanks.
I'll maybe finish it off or zero now. I'd probably say it's a risky game a lot of the time. So again, if I'm the airline, I'm going back to my early years of Scoots. We worked with a company called Caravella. I can't remember their name back then as well. But they hadn't done anything. We were in a position at the time where we were able to take a risk on them, and we didn't know them, they didn't know us. We kept knocking on the door for 2 or 3 years. We said we'll do it now. So there's this risk. Most of this risk was on poor Caravella because we were the airline, we're quite established. We said, well, make it work, prove it to me, and then I'll sign a contract for you as well. We became the launch partner in Asia for them as well. Now they're quite an established business as well. So again, it's that risk. We haven't really talked about airports much, but again, I think
We can talk another hour.
probably get.
Anyway, that makes it.
There's a lot of risk for obviously startups. There's a lot of risk on an airline taking a chance on an insurance product, on a new hiring product, or again, even just flying to a new destination. Like I said, we haven't spoken about airports. The airports want the aircraft to fly in there. The airline takes all the risk. If it works and it loses money, the airline loses millions of dollars very, very quickly. And then we cancel the route and the airport has done no work. They've got all the money coming in as well. So it's a risk for everybody.
Okay. Thank you very much.